Get home from school, turn on my TV. Who are these friends staring right back at me? Now that we're older, why don't you come over and go back in time with me? 90s babies nostalgia.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jessica, and this is 90s Babies Nostalgia, where two fully grown millennial women rewatch and sometimes watch for the first time tween entertainment from the early 2000s.
Just to be clear, we are not sponsored by nor affiliated with any of the brands or shows or actors or anything that we mentioned in this podcast unless disclosed otherwise. We just really like talking about TV, and today the TV that we're talking about is
The Sweet
Life of
Zack and Cody.
Season 1, Part 1.
And before we jump into Sweet Life, which we are so excited about, what have you been enjoying lately?
I'm gonna throw two out, I guess. Not substantial. Don't worry about it. It's one is just like the new year. I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah.
I fucking love a new year. I love goal setting and like a fresh start. But at the same time, this is the least pressure I've ever put on myself for a new year, which is like fun for a change. Media-wise, you know, Jess, I have been watching The Challenge. Why I have been watching a show that has been on for over 20 years that is now virtually dead and has no real fan base is beyond me. But I started watching it because I was obsessed with someone from Love Island that went on it. And then I started watching seasons that she wasn't on. And I think I just really like watching hot people do really stupidly strong things. And like Amanda in an alternate universe would 100% have tried to do the challenge.
Yeah. I feel like in this current universe, you could try.
I don't have the physical strength, and it would take years to get to that place. And like the people who have been on that show for over a decade, who are like 40, feel like they're getting too old to compete. And I'm already almost 30. So I just feel like I don't have enough time left.
Okay, fair.
Not me having thought about this substantially.
Yeah.
Jessica, what about you? What have you been enjoying?
I discovered something recently that I didn't know was a thing. And I don't know if any other streaming platforms have this, but Amazon Prime has, like Prime Video, has a platform called Watch Party. And so you, like whatever show you want to watch, you click like start a watch party and then you can send a link to a friend. And it's like having a little sleepover. Because when you pause, it also pauses the other person's TV. So it takes away the like, oh, let's press start 3, 2, 1. And then it has a chat feature so you can like put your chats and thoughts and they'll pop up on your TV screen. And it's just, I don't know, it really gave me like old school, like sleepover, staying up late watching TV shows and movie vibes, but in like a more modern sense. And I really enjoyed it. And I feel like more streaming platforms should have something like Watch Party.
I know Disney Plus has that.
Oh.
I don't know how well it works. But I know that they have it. Yeah, and I know there are platforms out there that you can do it that are like third-party platforms as well.
Yeah. I feel like it's easier when it's built in. Feels less effort. Feels like more effort to go out of my way to set it up. I'm a little lazy.
I do love a good watch party. Who have you been having watch parties with?
My friend, my other Amanda in my life.
Not another Amanda.
And I would say what I was watching, but that's going to be what I'm enjoying next time.
Okay, well then we'll have to listen next time.
Yeah.
But let's get into this. It's a new year. It's a new Disney show. I swear we can do more than one a year. We just haven't figured out how. To be fair, the strike really threw a wrench in things. But I do distinctly remember Raven taking it out of us and us like mentioning that, and then our friends at Pop Capsule Pod being like, and 2023 is gonna, or like the new year's gonna be the year of Phil of the future. Like that just hit me now as I'm saying like it's a new year and we're doing Sweet Life, and I'm like, wow, we really only do one show a year.
Yeah. Okay. In all fairness, that first year we did Even Stevens, Lizzie, and Raven.
Yeah, and then Raven went into, was Raven like a year and a half? How long have we been doing this podcast?
I have no idea. 2 years.
We started this in 2021, right?
Yes.
The spring of 2021 is when we started recording, and then we published the summer of 2021.
Mm-hmm. So like 2.5 years.
Anyway, we're getting into Sweet Life of Zack Cody.
Yeah.
Which started in Disney Channel in March 18th, 2005. And season 1 finished up a year later. One show, 1 year, right? Sorry, January 27th of 2006.
Yeah. And it takes place, as I feel like anyone listening to this already knows, but at the Tipton Hotel, which is in Boston.
Theoretically.
Yes. It is created by Jim Giagon and Danny Hollis, who came up with the concept 20 years prior while they were working on a sitcom together. And also, I found this interesting. Obviously, like, all of the show is shot on like at the studio.
On lot, yeah.
Yeah, like on lot and on a soundstage. However, the outside shots that you see of the Tipton Hotel are of 2 actual hotels that exist in Boston. So they are of the Fairmont Copley Plaza and the Vancouver Hotel. So when you see outer shots, those are quote unquote real. I don't know. I feel like they still look they give me stock photo vibes.
Yeah. The Fairmont doesn't surprise me too much just because I feel like the Tipton font looks like the Fairmont font.
Yeah.
I have no idea what a Vancouver hotel would look like. But yeah.
Also very fun. This series premiered with 4 million viewers, and it was the most successful premiere for Disney at that time. So up until 2005, it was considered the most successful premiere.
I wonder why that was.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just because I feel like even though Raven is so good, I feel like at the start of it, people didn't know it was going to be that good. And I feel like with Lizzie McGuire and then Raven, like Disney was building momentum. So maybe by the time that Sweet Life aired, there was enough like already hype around Disney Channel TV shows that people were like, oh, we have to catch this premiere. Like, we know it's going to be good.
I agree. And I think that you're on the right track. My only question then is like, what about Phil?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And I do think it's interesting also in the terms of premieres that these have been 2 male-centered shows back to back, although Phil a little less so because we get Keely and Pim. I think Disney Channel is often thought of as being for girls, and like you think of Raven and Lizzie and those like strong female leads, and Hannah Montana and Alex Russo and stuff more than you do the boys. And this is the one show that I think comes to mind when you think of like the boy show.
And I bet that does play into it. Not to call any of our fellow podcaster friends out, but I know like this is one of Prime's favorite shows.
But it's also one of Alyson's favorite shows.
Yeah. I don't know. I bet it does like speak to a wider audience, maybe.
People are probably also like, twins?
Yeah.
We had Ashley, we had the Olsen. Those are the Olsen twins.
Yeah. I was like, those are the same people.
We had twins in the early aughts.
Yeah.
Anyway, This was originally ordered for a 21 episode season, but was extended to 26 episodes based on good ratings. We will not be covering all of them. If you are new to our Disney Channel content and the way that we cover it, it's not like Young Royals and Heartstopper where we talk about every single episode. It is where we are going to pick the most memorable or important for the plot or ridiculous episodes to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The theme song.
Yeah, it is Here I Am, written by John Adair and Steve Hampton, who also wrote like basically every other Disney theme song. So they wrote the one for Phil the Future, Wizards, Good Luck Charlie, Shake It Up, Sunny with a Chance, Jonas, So Random, you get it. It goes on and on.
That's surprising to me a little bit. Like Phil of the Future for sure. It sounds very similar to that one. A lot of those other ones are pretty different.
Well, songwriters don't just write the same song over and over again.
I'm aware. Thank you. I just think Wizards is in a different league. That's all.
That's fair. I agree.
You wrote iconic and you know every word. And like, I would like to say I also know every word, but like for what? Like,
yeah.
It's the soonest I've skipped a theme song while rewatching these. Like Lizzie, I listened to everyone. Raven, I probably listened to just about everyone. Even Steven. But this one, I was like a couple episodes in, skip. And like,
I haven't skipped yet. I sing.
What does it mean? Here I am in your life. Here you are in mine. Like, we get it. They're twins, but like, they're not. It's not Freaky Friday. Like that could be said of anyone that's like friends or siblings or anything, is like you're in each other's lives. Like what?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's iconic in the sense that it's like well written or the best theme song, but I think it's one of those that people our age no, you just know every word.
You and like me, we got the world to see, so come on down. You and me know what to do, so come on down. Like what does it mean? Nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I was listening to. I think it's because Phil of the Future and That's So Raven really told you what the show was about.
Yeah.
And the when I listened to this one, I was like, what?
Yeah. No, very true. The other thing I want to touch on before we get into the cast and the episodes is just Amanda and I both were texting about this, but the watchability of this show, I have to be honest, not that I wasn't looking forward to it. We had a little bit of a struggle, but a lot of fun with our content during the strikes, but I was very excited to get back to our original content. But also I was like, I don't think Sweet Life is going to hold up as much as I hope it would. But honestly, the episodes flew by so quickly. Like it would end and I'd be like, oh my God, like on to the next. Like I was able to watch so many more in one day than with any other show we've watched before.
I don't know why, but they do feel shorter. I think it might have to do with the broader ensemble cast, because the A plot and the B plot, usually both not always, but usually both twins are in one plot together. So then you have even more people. But speaking of the characters, like that's what we're going to jump into. So we've got Zach Martin and Cody Martin, who are both supposed to be 12 years old, played by Dylan and Cole Sprouse, who were 13 at the time.
And probably honestly 12 at the time of filming, because I based the age on air date. So,
and you wrote that they played Patrick Kelly and Grace Under Fire in the 90s, and Ben Geller and Friends, which was Ross's kid, and Just for Kicks. And I just needed to point out, Big Daddy where? Big Daddy was their first role.
I've never seen it, so I considered it unimportant.
I watched it when Sweet Life was on and they were at their height, and I was like, I gotta go back and see this weird Adam Sandler movie where they're literally play like Adam Sandler's kid when he is not ready for a kid and he's like a single. I don't even remember if they're a biological kid, but I do remember that they pee on a wall as a little child. I'm pretty sure if these are the majority of their roles beforehand, then this show is probably the first time they're not playing the same character, because all of these other ones we're
Yes.
talking about, they're doing the whole like Mary-Kate and Ashley on Full House thing where they're child labor
Yes.
laws fulfilling the same role.
That is a fact, that this is the first show that they are doing where they place their own characters. It's not both of them playing one character.
And then their mother, Miss Carrie Martin, 38. She's a single mom of twins, and she is the resident performer, cocktail singer, cocktail
Lounge singer, yeah.
cabaret singer, I think is actually maybe what it is in the show. Anyway, at the Tipton, and she's played by Kim Rhodes, who is 36.
She also played Cindy in Another World and was in Christmas with the Cranks. And I love that Amanda noted this. I'm pretty positive she is our first single parent.
I believe so, unless there was a show before Even Stevens that we have not watched and therefore it does not count.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's our first single parent.
Mm-hmm.
And she's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, yeah. We'll get into it. But for the most part, yes. I feel like this is at the turning point where after this point, the Disney parents go off the fucking rails. We're not quite there yet.
Yes. But we have more to say on that in the future.
Yeah.
Next, we have London Tipton. She's 15 years old. She's played by 17-year-old Brenda Song. London Tipton is literally a parody of Paris Hilton. Like, it's been confirmed, I believe, that and if not, then like even if it hasn't been confirmed, her name is London Tipton, Paris Hilton. How much more does it need to be spelled out? We've discussed Brenda Song before. We notably talked about her in our recent episode on the Ultimate Christmas Present, and she had already done 100 Deeds for Eddie McDowd, Get a Clue. She did Get a Clue before this and Stuck in the Suburbs before this. Wow.
Stuck in the Suburbs is either 2004 or 2005, so it's right around the same time.
Get a Clue was with Lindsay Lohan. Stuck in the Suburbs was a great DCOM. They're both DCOMs. And then Phil of the Future, we've mentioned she was in the first season of that. And you have a fun fact here.
She got this role at 15 years old is when she got the role. So I know we noticed she was 17, but that's at the time of it premiering. At the same exact time that she received early acceptance to Harvard. What?
Did she go?
Mean? No, I don't think she went. I didn't research past that. I was just in shock.
I don't know what it is with these child actors, but it's like, have you heard about
No, she turned it down.
Okay. Have you heard about Bridget Mendler's degrees?
No.
She's got like 3 of them. She's got like a PhD and a master's, but they're like all in different things, like fucking bioengineering and space shit, and like she's a crazy genius. We all thought Emma Watson was smart just for going to college.
Then we have Maddie Fitzpatrick, who also is 15. She is the like candy counter girl at the Tipton, and like London's frenemy, but more friends than
they're like friends because they're in the same space all the time, and Maddie works there because she's poor.
Yeah, and she is played by Ashley Tisdale, who was 20 at the time. She tried out for both roles of London and Maddie, which I find interesting. And previous to this, she was on A Bug's Life, 3 episodes of The Amanda Show, and Donnie Darko.
What's interesting is I think I could see either of them playing each other's roles, especially knowing I don't know, because Maddie's like the smart one and London's super dumb, and you're talking about Brenda Song getting into Harvard at this time, like plus they're both versatile enough.
Yeah, and Ashley Tisdale goes on to play Sharpay in High School Musical, which is, I would say, kind of more London-esque. So yeah, I definitely could see her playing either one and it working.
Yeah.
Then we have Mr. Marion Mosby, which is the hotel manager of the Tipton, which I will get into. He does not do the job of a hotel manager. I'm not going to get into it now, but what even is his job? Anyways, he's like a no-nonsense kind of guy. He's a little grumpy. He doesn't really love Zack and Cody being in the hotel. And he is played by Phil Lewis, who was 37 at the time. He did a few things. He was Principal Tweety and Lizzie McGuire. He was in a few episodes of Sister, Sister, and Friends. And he also was in Kicking and Screaming. And what is this that you wrote? What
I wrote,
do you mean?
I wrote, did you know he killed someone before this?
No, I didn't. What?
I find it so interesting because, you know, Disney's one of the, it's known for how strict it is. And like, they've cut Mitchell Musso out for a DUI when he was in like 3 shows and hugely popular. But in late December 1991, Lewis was arrested after he fatally struck a woman in a car crash and was charged with manslaughter and driving while intoxicated. His blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison but suspended 4 because he did work with a prison-based theater troupe. And
Wow.
he had 2 years probation and 350 hours of community service. So that was in 1991, which was over a decade before filming this. So it's just really interesting to me. This is something I've known about him for like a long time. That like Disney is so quick to cut people out when they misbehave, but they hired someone with the rap sheet. Not that he shouldn't be hired, and he was a working actor before and after, but like just a fun fact.
Yeah, I did not know that. Then we have Esteban Ramirez, who is our bellman, but also he does like, or bellhop, I think is what they refer to him as, but bellman is the more modern term that's used in hotels. He does like 15 other jobs. He is played by Adrian Armonte, who is 27 at the time. And we also have Arwen Hockhauser, who is an engineer, nerdy guy, semi has a crush on Carrie. He's a hotel engineer.
Not semi. He has a crazy crush on Carrie.
Okay, he has a crazy crush on Carrie, correction, and he is played by Brian Stepanek, who is 34.
And then we have Max, doesn't need a last name, played by Alyson Stoner, who I wrote was like 12-ish at the time. She's a year younger than the boys. And Max was a guest star as friends of Zack and Cody in 4 episodes in season 1 and 2 episodes in season 2. Alyson Stoner was the workhorse. Like,
oh my god,
her and Brenda were on their shit. So by this point, like not even after this, but by the time of filming as Max, Alyson had been in Missy Elliott's Work It, Gossip Folks, and I'm Really Hot videos, as well as Eminem's Just Lose It. They had also been a backup dancer for Outkast and Will Smith at 2 different Kids' Choice Awards. So they started really as a dancer, and then as scheduling conflicts happened, they transitioned into acting and had done Mike's Super Short Show, both Cheaper by the Dozen movies, Step Up, Drake and Josh. They were a recurring voice role on the Lilo and Stitch series. And as we mentioned before, they had a backdoor pilot episode on That's So Raven for their own show until that was scrapped. So she's done so much.
Yeah, it's wild. Busy. And only 12 years old.
Yes, and that is something she talks about a lot now. And then just like wrapping up a few of our side characters, we have Muriel, who is a very lazy maid in the hotel, played by Estelle Harris, who was most notably in Seinfeld, but also for us was the voice of Mrs. Potato Head in the Toy Story franchise.
Yep.
We have Patrick, who is the sassy maitre d'. Is that how it's pronounced?
That is not how it's spelt, but yes, that is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, that's, I just ran with it. He's the head waiter at the Tipton restaurant, played by Patrick Bristow. Ilse Schickel-Gruber-Meiger is the how do I describe her? She's the Tipton like
she's
inspector.
the rival Oh.
She's the inspector the first episode she's in. I didn't assign you the episodes, or maybe I gave you one. The first episode she's in, she's the inspector, and then she becomes the manager at a rival hotel because of the boys ruin her life as the inspector and get her fired. And she's played by Caroline Rhea, who is Aunt Hilda in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And then we have Monique Coleman as Mary Margaret, who just is not in that many episodes, but that's Taylor in High School Musical, and I think it's fun that she was in Sweet Life first.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to get into the episodes, starting with episode 1, Hotel Hangout.
And for disclaimer, because again, I don't know if you're new here, we've been doing this for a while, off and on. We will discuss episodes that we choose ourselves in the order that they premiered. And they are in order on Disney Plus this time. I checked. I have the production codes written for us to know which order they were in. But like, this is one of those weird series where the pilot actually aired after a few episodes. So.
Yeah, but we always discuss the way they were aired because that's the way that we grew up seeing them on TV. Though sometimes from time to time we will note production order if it, plays into like some confusing plot device stuff, which happens.
Mm-hmm.
So the A plot in this one, Hotel Hangout, is that Zack and Cody are the new kids at school. They're feeling left out, but then they start to make friends with Max and Tapeworm, and they invite them over after school. And the next day at school, they're all like chatting, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was so cool! You guys live at the Tipton." And the cool kids at school learn that they live at the hotel, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can be let into the group." But really, they're just like using Zack and Cody to get free tea sandwiches, access to the hotel pool, and amenities. And also, they're just really, really mean to Max and Tapeworm, which Zack kind of plays off, but Cody does really notice and is uncomfortable with how mean they're being. Drew, who's like the head honcho of the cool kids, he continues to invite more and more and more and more people. Like literally the lobby of the hotel is just like rampant with children. It's a little outrageous. And Carrie and Mr. Mosby tells Carrie, like, you gotta get, the boys have to stop inviting everyone over. And so Carrie's like, boys, you gotta get everyone to leave. In the process of giving everyone out of the hotel, which they sent everyone to the game room, which I'm like, that was not productive. They're like, get out of here. Actually, just go to a different part of the hotel that then we're going to have to get you out of that part of the hotel. Mm-hmm. They literally knock Esteban off of a ladder, and he goes like swinging from a chandelier. Mm-hmm. And finally, they've cleared the hotel, besides for Drew and his friends who are on the roof where the rooftop pool is playing a basketball game. And Drew's kind of pissed that they're kicking him out in the middle of his basketball game. So he like throws the basketball and it hits this like giant satellite dish that is like on the side of the hotel, and it gets knocked off and goes like swinging in front of the like porte-cochere lobby doors. And so then Zack, Cody, Max, and Tapeworm are all on the roof, and Carrie joins them, and they're like struggling to pull this satellite dish back up. And at the same time, Carrie's kind of giving the boys a life lesson of kind of like treating their home with respect. Like, this is, the hotel is their home. It's not just a hotel.
The B plot is that London can't go out because she needs to improve her grades and get a tutor. And Mosby sees Maddie doing a bunch of mental math at the county counter, is like, you can be her tutor. And she's like, I need money. And at the same time, we are introduced to Lance, who is the really stupid hotel lifeguard. And Maddie has a crush on him because ain't he cute? We love a himbo. Mm-hmm. So London offers her dating advice in exchange for the tutoring. Maddie and Lance go on a date, but she's not into him because she realizes that all he can talk about is water. Literally his entire personality. I don't know how anyone is like that. And London tells her to cut things off, but like Maddie doesn't know how to do that and accidentally makes plans for another date with him instead. So London has to teach her to be mean, and Maddie has to teach London to be smart. This is a reoccurring theme in this show. Eventually, though, Maddie does cut things off with Lance, and London passes her math test with a thrilling D+.
Mm-hmm. Also, I threw this in here. Very random C plot. Which Amanda wrote, is this really a plot? Kind of. Carrie learns that Max can dance and asks her to teach new moves for her act.
But it's not like
There's like, they go back and forth to it like 4 to 5 times throughout the episode.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah. Like, it happens enough that you're like, I would consider this weirdly a plot.
All right, getting into things that are notable about this, our first ever episode, which I feel like was on the reruns all the time. Like, I feel like I've seen this episode so many times.
Yep.
You wrote, Mr. Mosby is the hotel manager, but is basically a glorified nanny for London.
Yeah, I think I need to, I was going to start the episode with this, but I think I need to preface. I've worked in hotels for almost a decade. I don't currently work in them anymore, but I have a lot of hotel experience. I also spent 6 years working in a luxury hotel, which the Tipton is a luxury hotel. So it is going to come up now and again, all my frustrations / confusion with what is going on with these hotel employees and the shenanigans that Zack and Cody get up to, because it just makes no sense. This should never fucking happen in a hotel. I am going to try to collect a lot of them for our final episode and kind of shout out like my top 10. But
yeah, I think I'm even going to make a list for you with things that are in the episodes you're not watching.
Please do. I would love that. He's not a hotel manager. Like, he's a glorified nanny for London, and then he just like runs around shouting at people. And also, he frequently works the front desk. Like, hello, are you a front desk agent?
What would a manager be doing normally?
Okay. So a hotel manager sits under the general manager. Sometimes at certain hotels, they're called director of operations. They don't always have the title of hotel manager. A general manager obviously is the head, but they tend to be a little more reserved, behind the scenes, back of house, finance, accounting, sales, working with those departments, where the hotel manager tends to be the person who's working with a lot more of the front-facing departments. So your housekeeping, your restaurant staff, your front desk staff. So it's not strange that he's out like walking around the hotel, but like your hotel manager would not check in a guest. That is weird.
Oh.
It would be like a guest is checking in and they're furious that their room's not ready, even though they're trying to check in 4 hours early. And of course their room's not ready, but you can't calm down the guests because they're being irrational. That's when you would call the hotel manager, and then they would step up and like give them $100 voucher to like go eat in the restaurant until the room's ready or some shit.
So he's working with a lot of the right departments. He's just doing work that is beneath his title.
Yeah, and also he really is a glorified nanny for London. Like, what is happening?
I mean, so London has canonically had a lot of nannies. She doesn't have one currently, I think, because she's a teenager and she's like kind of under Mosby's stewardship. But more than a nanny, I'd say he is like a father figure to her, which is something that we see grow throughout the show. And the next show, because of the spinoff. I did leave some of those episodes out, one notably that I have a shout out for later, but I want to give him a little more credit that he's like not just a nanny, he's a professional who also happens to be raising this child that's not his.
Yeah, but it's almost like posed as that is part of his job duties.
Yeah, because her dad always communicates via Mosby, yeah.
Yeah, and that is the part that I'm like, this would never happen.
Yeah.
Another thing I noted is there was this kind of throwaway line where London is like, I don't know, ordering shopping or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks Maddie if she's a size 14 and says it like it's an insult. And I was like, oh, this is such a 2005 comment. Like, she's like, what are you, a size 14? And I'm like, oh, it just
I wrote
triggered
that
me a
down
little bit.
too. And I also feel like it's got to be junior sizes that she's talking about.
But even then,
No, I know. But I remember junior sizes running, like, the numbers were higher, I think, than
but juniors typically run odds and women's run evens.
because 14 is like I think 10 to 14 are like the average sizes of a woman in America.
Mhm.
And but like normally in shows at this time, you would hear like in Devil Wears Prada, a 6 is an insult.
Mhm.
So 14 to me felt out
And
of place.
also, at this time, it was very common in the modeling industry for anything over a size 8 to be considered a plus size model, even though really size 18 to 20 is what's truly considered plus size. But models that were size 8 and above were advertised as plus size models. But yeah, it was just, I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way, but also felt very 2005 all at the same time.
Yeah, I'm just saying it rubbed me the wrong way, but it also felt like an inaccurate number to throw out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember the ice cream.
Okay. The boys are like running around the rooftop pool trying to get all the kids out, and there's a bunch of kids in the hot tub, and they're like trying to entice them to leave, and nothing they're saying is enticing these kids to get out of the hot tub. And so they literally take a chocolate ice cream and they plop it into the pool so it looks like poo, and all the kids are like, oh my god, and then they run, and it made me giggle.
It's like Caddyshack with the chocolate bar. Have you seen Caddyshack?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. We are introduced to Alyson Stoner, and in the very first scene, like hardly said anything. Dance break for no reason. For no reason. Like it's not important in the moment at all. It's just like, we hired her. Let's get her dancing.
Yep.
Ridiculous. But they had that woman working. I felt like this, as a first episode, had a lot of iconic scenes. We didn't really mention the intro that much, but the theme song intro is one of those clips ones, which is sort of what we've had since Raven started it, and I think pretty much all the shows will have it after. And a lot of the clips are from this one, like the vase catching that Mosby does, Carrie dancing with her hairbrush, Esteban hanging from the chandelier. Those are all scenes that like really stuck out in my brain. Whether or not they're in the intro, I just was like, this one, I've seen this a million times.
Yeah, and the vase catching is one of those, like, it happens almost every episode.
It's a recurring bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the quotes?
Yeah. London says to Maddie, referring to Mr. Mosby, when is he going to realize education and me just don't mix? And Maddie's like, education and I. And it was just really good. I don't remember when this was, but I also wrote down, why don't you wear a sack over your head that says loser?
I'm sure Zack said that to Cody when Cody wanted to stand up to Drew.
Oh, probably.
It's a very Zack line.
Yeah. Up next,
episode 2, Fairest of Them All. This one is also one that was on the repeats all the time, and it sticks out in my head so much. Sorry, I jumped the gun on you.
No. You jump right into it.
Okay, Zack and Cody want bikes, but they can't afford them right now. And in walks a bunch of girls for a beauty pageant. They're like around Zack and Cody's age, though. It's a very young beauty pageant. And Cody bumps into one of the girls and is like immediately like smitten.
So smitten.
But he doesn't get her name. Mr. Mosby sees the boys, and he's like, absolutely not will you be roaming around this hotel while the pageant is in town. You are going to be on your best behavior in another corner of the hotel. But, of course, they don't listen because they're Zack and Cody, and that's their main characteristic is that they don't listen. So while they're sneaking around trying to hunt down his crush, they hear Mosby and they stumble into the dressing room where the girls are getting ready, and there's a girl that quits as they're like walking in, Tyresha, who is a black girl. And Cody, to not get caught because they hear Mosby, puts on a wig and pretends to be Tyresha and comes out of the dressing room with sass and wows the judges. And then Rebecca, who is Cody's crush, invites Cody as Tyresha to a sleepover with the other girls. And they have like lots of talks, and London shows up to mentor all of the little girls and share who did the best. And the finalists were Brianna, Rebecca, and Tyresha. So Rebecca, Cody's crush. Tyresha, Cody. And Brianna is like toddlers and tiaras. She is white trash pageantry at its finest.
Yep.
And I mean that completely neutrally, by the way.
Yeah.
Rebecca shares with Tyresha that she needs the money for vet school. Whatever. In the finals, Brianna drops her baton during the talent portion and is out of the competition, leaving Rebecca and Tyresha. Then Cody drops out because Rebecca needs the money. But he has a twin brother who looks identical, so Zack throws on the wig and says, "We need the money for bikes," and locks Cody in a locker. And comes out and skateboards on stage because that's super fun and appropriate for a pageant. And then
and they just happened to have a half pipe that they could just like pew, but it was like half of a half pipe, but still
at the last minute, because that's not what Cody would have done as his talent.
No.
Cody gets out of the locker and runs out on stage and starts fighting with Zack, and they get disqualified, and Rebecca wins. And Rebecca's upset, but then kisses Cody.
The B plot, which is like really small and kind of nothing, but Carrie runs into Tim in the lobby. He is the host of the beauty pageant, and she used to work with him on a cruise ship, and they have like a weird rivalry thing going on. And then they're forced to sing together for the Mini Miss pageant, and we see the rivalry kind of escalate while they're on stage singing together, and Tim ends up pushing Carrie off the stage.
We need to note Victoria Justice is Rebecca. Victoria Justice, pre-Victorious, pre-Zoe 101, is Cody's crush, Rebecca. And Skylar Samuels is Brianna. She's also Gigi in Wizards of Waverly Place. She's one of those faces that I see and I'm like, I know that girl. Where do I know that girl from?
On my hotel comments, Mr. Mosby makes a comment that he booked the pageant. The boys cannot be running around the hotel. They have to stay in their room while the pageant's in town because he booked this pageant and he does not want it messed up. Mosby, that's not your job. That's what a sales manager is for. A sales manager would have booked the pageant. And also an event manager would have been in charge of making sure the pageant ran well, not you. Like,
I will say I was surprised to learn as your friend that there are sales people in the hotels. I don't know why, but event people doesn't surprise me at all, but sales people surprised me a little bit.
Who do you think books the events?
Like the managers or the event managers?
Okay, so at some hotels, we call it booking and cooking. You could delete this. But at some hotels, event managers will book and cook. So they'll sell the event and they'll service it. But at luxury hotels, it's separate. Your sales managers just sell and event managers just service. Rebecca's talent for the talent show, I wish they showed us this. They just mentioned it. Was juggling while baking a cake. And like, regardless of whatever else came out, like, of course she's gonna win. That's the best talent.
I forgot about that. This is also the episode where we learn that Mr. Mosby's first name is Marion, which I don't know why tickled to me. I have to, because this stuck out to me. So there's a line where Rebecca says, if you were a boy, I'd kiss you. And then when she finds to Tyresha, to Cody as Tyresha, Cody in a wig. And then when she finds out that Tyresha is a boy, she does kiss him. But like, does that line not make her gay? Like, does that not, if you were a boy, I'd kiss you, like that you're gay?
Yeah, I agree. It is definitely very like, at that point, are you trying to fit into like society standards, which at her age she probably doesn't understand, but it's like, you know, she, especially being in beauty pageant world, she's probably told like, oh, you're supposed to like boys. And so that's why she's like, oh, if you were a boy, I'd kiss you. But yeah, I definitely think it's a gay or bi leaning for sure.
It's also just a line that they threw in there because they thought it would be funny, because obviously we know that he's a boy and it's like, tearing him apart. But in general, like I've heard people use those lines before, and it's like, if you want to kiss someone, you probably don't need them to be a different gender.
Yeah, you probably should just kiss them.
Well, you probably actually like more genders than you think.
Yeah.
Other notes that you have?
Yeah. So Carrie like literally gasps in relief when she asks Zack like why he's wearing a skirt, and he's like, oh, I wanted to win the money for bikes.
Oh, and yeah.
It's like, her relief comes from the fact that it was because he wanted bikes and not because the boy could just wear a skirt.
Yeah.
Let the boy wear a skirt if he wants to wear a damn skirt.
These were a couple of the, like that and the if you were a boy comment were a couple of the things that did not hold up super well. Another thing I didn't like is that Brianna, like I said, white trash, they're poor. Like there's a line about their house being double parked. They're trailer trash. They live in a trailer. And shortly after that line, Mosby says, remind me to count the towels in her room. And like, yeah, they like the mom is kind of like taking advantage of free stuff, but I also felt like it was kind of gross to me, like the way that she was characterized and the way that Mosby was characterizing her. Did you feel that at all? Yeah,
it is a little gross. Also, I kind of get it because she does steal like 50 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah, but then why was she written that way?
Yeah, it's fair.
I don't know. People can be poor and not need to be watched like that. And also, it was like insult to injury because they're Southern. Like, did they have to be Southern?
Some quotes that I wrote down. When Cody first runs into Rebecca in the lobby and she's talking to him and he cannot get his words out because he is nervous. She goes, I'm sorry, I don't speak Vietnamese. And I just felt like a dated line.
Of all the languages.
Instead of just like, oh, I didn't hear that. Or what was that? Like, they probably could have done a different joke that wasn't that. So speaking of Brianna's mom, she comes into the hotel needing to throw out her little like porta-john because it's full, and someone's like bothering Mr. Mosby with something, and he's like, I have to help the queen with her throne. And I just liked that. Also, during the sleepover, all the girls are talking about what they want to be when they grow up. And London goes, I wanted to be an heiress and I did it. Yay, me.
My favorite quotes that I wrote down, and something I've been enjoying about this, is that Jess and I did not have any of the same quotes for any of these episodes. There's Carrie's rival, whatever his name was.
Tim.
Why did I know that? I was going to say Tim, then I was like, that can't be right. Tim, when he and Carrie are like saying hi to each other, he goes, Carrie, you look incredible. Like to himself, and then Tyresha, when she's quitting, the actual Tyresha, when she is quitting the pageant, she tells her mom, no, I quit. I'm sick of beauty pageants. I'm going to science camp. And her mom goes, where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
We love a woman in STEM.
Yep.
Okay, now, episode 5, Grounded on the 23rd Floor. Full disclosure, this is the actual pilot. It has the earliest production code, and it feels like one, because Jess and I both noted that when we were watching it, of like, is this the pilot?
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching it and I was like, this one feels a little weird.
Yeah, you wrote that down, and I was like, I had the same thought.
Yeah. So this one kicks off with tons of paparazzi are at the hotel because Bobby Carrillo, who's like a famous athlete, I don't know if they said soccer, football, but he's an athlete. And Ursula, who I think is a famous model, are getting married at the Tipton. And the boys learn that the tabloids are paying $20,000 for a shot of the first kiss. And so they are motivated by this because previously in this episode, we see them have a conversation with Carrie where she gets a bill. And she's surprised to get a bill since their room and board and allowances are covered by the hotel as part of her contract. And it's way more than they can afford.
It's
And
like
so
$5,000, isn't it?
I don't think they share the exact amount. But yeah, she's like really shocked by it. And so the boys are like, we need to get this money so we can give some back to mom since we spent too much.
Yeah, to be clear, the money was all their fault. They were ordering fancy room service and they were getting dry cleaning and shit.
Yeah. So Zack and Cody buy a disposable camera from the candy counter. And they are like on the hunt for a way into this wedding. Also slightly related, Beyonce, LOL, would never happen, dropped out as their wedding singer. And so they're looking for a wedding singer, and Mr. Mosby is trying to help them. And Bobby's like, I just want someone who's good, preferably someone who's not going to drop out on us. And so the twins pop up and they're like, let us show you our mom, and like walk over to the lounge, and they love her. And they're like, this is going to be our in. And Carrie's like, no, I can't get you in the wedding just because I'm singing there. Like, you guys are crazy. And so Maddie is put in charge of the boys. And she's babysitting them. And
she's little man sitting them.
Yes, she is little man sitting them. And Zack pretends to be taking a bath, but he sneaks out and like climbs through the vents to the ballroom. And this is working successfully until the bathtub, like Zack and Cody forgot to turn off the like faucet for the bathtub. And so it starts overfilling and Cody's like trying to sop up all the water with towels. And Maddie's like, what is going on in there? And Cody is not able to cover. And so she finds out that Zack snuck out. So then everyone is in this damn hotel vent. Zack is there. Cody is there. Maddie is there. London is also in the vent because she couldn't get into the wedding and she needs to be there. They sneak in. Zack successfully gets the photo, but then Mr. Mosby catches them in the vent and the boys get grounded for another week.
Yeah. To add a little bit of detail, Mosby catches them in the vent, right? Mm-hmm. He is in there. Also, Cody pretends to be both Zack and Cody. Like, he's fully in on this plan, and he goes back and forth with Maddie. It's a really cute exchange, and Maddie is not having any of it. Like, she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole lot of hullabaloo.
Yeah. This is the first, which is interesting because it's a pilot, but this is the first, and I think it continues, episode where we see Zack hint that, like, he has maybe a little crush on Maddie or makes comments about Maddie being attractive, but he says Maddie's got it going on in this episode. And it's just giving Corey from That's So Raven in a way that I don't like. Like, Amanda and I noted that in our That's So Raven episodes over and over again, that we didn't love that Corey felt like he over-sexualized certain relationships in his life, especially with much older women.
Chelsea.
With Chelsea. So I didn't love that.
It's worse. Zack is worse than Corey, I think. Like, in this episode, he mimics curves while saying that about Maddie. And his crush definitely is a more notable part of the storylines.
Yeah, not gonna love that.
It's all right. I'm not having you watch some of those episodes.
paparazzi do not give a damn about professional athletes unless you're like Travis Kelce, and the only reason they would care is because of Taylor Swift. Like, or you're like a LeBron James or something like that. But even then, like, paparazzi don't really care. Like, they don't care about professional athletes. That's not... I have worked at hotels that have had professional athlete weddings. I have been an event manager for multiple professional athlete weddings. Like, you don't have paparazzi.
I think it's probably because they said no photos that they cared that much. But also, as you were talking and you said that he maybe was a soccer player, I realized it's also giving David and Victoria Beckham.
Oh, it is.
Which I looked it up. They were married in 99, so that was like 5 years before this was written. But I
bet it was inspired by that.
Yeah, and I feel like their wedding was kind of like, their lives were pretty heavily publicized the first decade.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also, if he is a soccer player, I don't fully
No one gives a shit.
Well, I'm saying I don't fully retract my statement, but soccer players actually are, like, think of Messi. Everything Messi does is fucking publicized everywhere.
Yeah, you have to not be an American soccer player is the issue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Also, London was so set on getting into this wedding. She's like, my daddy owns this hotel, so I'm getting into this wedding. And I was going to be so pissed if that was the reason she got allowed in. So I'm glad that she had to sneak in through the vent like everyone else.
It's also funny that she just wants in for like the notoriety and the prestige of it all. She's not trying to get the photo.
No, yeah, she just wants to be seen there. Also, this episode opens up, we explained, with the whole Bill situation, in which then Carrie grounds Zack and Cody. So they're grounded this entire episode, and like no one is enforcing it. Like, yes, they are sneaking out, but there are times where they are not sneaking out. They are just in the lobby and doing stuff around the hotel. And I'm like, what? I thought they were grounded. Like,
yeah, maybe grounded for Carrie just means not leaving the hotel.
But they live there. I feel like it would be to the... I don't know.
To the weird. Suite, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet how many people can fit in these fucking vents. This is one of my things that, like, I feel like you probably don't know this part about hotels, but, like, do you have any idea how large vents are? Because, like, how is Mosby? How is a grown man going through these vents?
Yeah. I also think, like... Is this just something in TV shows? Like, can humans actually crawl in vents? Like, are they large enough? I feel like no.
I feel like some industrial vents are large enough to fit some small adults. Like, I could maybe understand the twins being able to do this. But not
Mr. Mosby.
The twins, Maddie, London, and Mr. Mosby, and the vents didn't break.
Yeah.
Very confusing.
Mr. Mosby threatens to fire Carrie if the twins do anything to ruin the wedding, which I just, like, didn't love. That felt very intense.
I kind of get it, though, because, like, the kids are living there under the contingency of her employment, but then they do ruin the wedding, and she doesn't get fired, so.
No, they just get grounded. Also, at the end, it kind of comes full circle where Carrie does end up apologizing to the kids about making them worry about money. She's like, oh, I didn't realize you guys were worried about the money. Like, that shouldn't be a worry of yours. And I really appreciated that conversation. It felt wholesome. It felt important.
Yeah, this is where I said that I think she's a good parent. Obviously, the kids get away with a lot of shit. They have shenanigans up the gins. I don't know what I just said. They have ridiculous shenanigans.
Yeah.
But a lot of these season 1 episodes end in these like heart to hearts that feel very real. And she says like I never should have made you feel like a burden in that way. And I just really love that conversation.
Yeah, me too. Because like she's right. Kids shouldn't have to bear the weight of money issues. And it is very frequently, unfortunately, that children do. And so the fact that she recognizes that she made them worry about something that they shouldn't be worrying about, I just really, really, really thought it was great parenting and a good story for anyone like watching it as well to learn.
And I also wrote just a little note that this is the start of environmentalist Maddie, because that's a recurring theme in Maddie's characterization. I don't even remember what she says, but I know she has a line about the environment in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And in a previous episode, though, production order-wise, this one would be first. And it just, I personally know it will culminate in that large Zac Efron episode that I am looking forward to.
Me too. I think these are all your quotes.
These are all my quotes. At one point, Carrie says, referring to the twins, till they go to college, and Mosby goes, or prison.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie to Zac, when they go up to the candy counter, she says, what caught your eye? And he goes, you do, sweet thing.
Gross.
Disgusting. Gross. And then London, to me, has the best introduction. Like, all of these lines are very early on in the episode. They're setting up for who these kids are. Like with Zac being disgusting. And London walks into the hotel in that scene and goes, little me, back from Paris. And then she has another line shortly thereafter. But it's just like, you know exactly who this bitch is. And I love it. It's iconic.
Yep.
Okay, our final episode that we were talking about in this episode, stay tuned for the rest of season 1, is episode 7, Footloser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is called that.
Yep.
So I included this one because it's another Alyson Stoner episode. Go Dance USA is doing a local competition and broadcast at the Tipton Hotel, and Max wants to enter because this is Max's dream. So she offers it to Zac. Mm-hmm. And Cody's like, what about me? And she's like, all right, audition. And Cody fucking flops all over the place, literally, physically, and metaphorically. And so Zac is chosen. And Cody is upset that Zac's better at everything than him. So he starts like trying to find hobbies that he could excel at. He tries ventriloquism briefly. And then he moves on to magic tricks, which he like keeps doing for a while. It's just like a bit throughout the show. Meanwhile, Zac and Max do great in the initial rounds and make it to the finals. Max is like, Zac, we got to rehearse all the time, and don't you dare do anything stupid and get injured. Mm-hmm. And he's fed up with her being so like on his ass that immediately when she leaves, he jumps on the bed, falls, and hurts his ankle. And because there's no substitutions as a rule in this competition, he feels really bad and decides to teach Cody the routine so Cody can replace him because there's no substitutions. But how would they know? Because we're identical. Twins, here you are in my life. So Cody replaces Zac, but he's still wearing his fucking magician's outfit and he didn't take the tricks out of it.
Yep.
So he's like in the middle of this performance pulling fucking flowers out of his coat, and then a rabbit comes out of his pants. And honestly, the crowd's actually loving it. The crowd's going like thrilled. And Carrie's like, why the fuck is that kid up there on that stage breaking the rules? And then because Cody's got so much energy and hype from the crowd, he's like, I can do my signature move. The same one that had him falling at the start of the episode, he does it now, and he again falls off the stage, which leads to Carrie yelling, Cody, because she's worried about her child. And the judges are like, I thought this was Zac. DQ, baby. They are disqualified, and Carrie tells Cody that he shouldn't be comparing himself to his brother. Also, there was a point where he was like, I'm not good at anything, and she was like, you're good at school, and he was like, I'm not good at anything that matters.
Yeah. Which then she doesn't continue to tell him that school does matter, which I'm like, hello, Carrie, teaching moment. B-plot, Maddie is saving up money to pitch in with her siblings to send her parents to Paris for their anniversary. So she's doing overtime and picking up extra shifts to make $250. But London's like, that's all you need? I'll just give it to you. Because London wants to go shopping. So basically, this whole episode, like, London turns Maddie into her little bitch and makes her do like, everything for her. That's what happened.
She literally wrote, so Maddie becomes her little bitch.
Am I
15.
wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're not.
Thank you. And everyone in the hotel is making comments about it. Everyone is like, why are you letting her treat you like that? And so they all pitch in together to give the money to Maddie to pay London back.
Specifically, I will say Esteban knows what's going on. Esteban is very concerned for Maddie, and Mosby sees it and asks Esteban what's going on. And he's like, I couldn't tell you about your employees' personal matters. That would be a violation of their trust. And Mosby, for some reason, if there is a C plot in this episode, it is that he adopts this ventriloquist dummy of Cody's that was quickly discarded and it is like very weird with it. He's like hitting on guests and saying rude comments. And so he's like, he tells Esteban, like, tell it to the dummy. And so Esteban whispers it in his ears. And that's Mosby, I think, is the main one behind like raising the money for Maddie, which she quickly gives to London.
Yeah, I think they do say that Mosby puts in like $100 or $150 or something, so the bulk of the money.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the B plot, even if she has so many siblings, each of them contributing $250 is not enough for a trip to Paris.
Maybe they're just like hoping their parents can afford the other half. Like, I did the math. If 5 people contributed $250, it'd be like enough for a plane ticket, maybe 2 if you're flying a really cheap airline. It's from Boston.
But like hotels and restaurants and also one of the things that London makes Maddie do is hold her foot for her while she's getting a pedicure, and like that is what the person at the nail salon would do. They would hold you are paying them to give you a pedicure. They would hold your foot while they were doing your toes. Why is Maddie doing this?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, maybe she's holding the other foot. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to like imagine it, and I can't.
Yeah, I think that's all my B plot comments. But A plot, this dance. Can we talk about it?
Yeah, so you wrote, are we thinking this dance is good? And I had already made the note to myself, even I could learn this dance.
Yeah, honestly, I probably could.
We're not dancers, guys. We're not. I like watching them do this dance. I was thinking this must have been difficult for Alyson to film, to like restrict herself to such like rudimentary movements.
Yeah. Like at this time, as we mentioned, they have been in Missy Elliott and Eminem videos, and they are making Alyson get up there and do this lame. It sucks. It's so boring.
It's so basic.
Yeah.
It is not broadcast worthy at all.
Yeah, Max, another part of this, Max says to Zack, while they are practicing, she's like, no ice cream, since he could get fat. And also she's like, lay off the fries. I was like, no, not here for that. Okay. We are not food shaming. We are not telling people what to eat. We're also not fat shaming. None of it.
I wrote these down as well. It's fucked. Okay, they're 12. And she's like, don't gain weight. I will say, fucked, but kind of realistic.
Yeah.
For dance.
And also, like, I know it was on a podcast recently.
I was going to bring this up as well. Kim Rhodes.
Yeah, Kim Rhodes mentioned that she like had to stand up for Zack because they were consistently comparing his weight and look to Cody, and he was gaining weight at a faster rate than Cody because they're fucking 12-year-olds. They're about to be teenage boys. They're growing. And she had to be like, no, you cannot fat shame a child. So it is realistic.
She also said that there was a line where one of them was supposed to make a comment about her weight, and every rehearsal the boys just left it out. And then there was because they film in front of a live studio audience, during the filming a big producer came and saw it, and the boy didn't say it, and the producer stopped them and was like, say the line as it's written. And they were like, I would never like body shame a woman, especially one that I respect as much as this woman. Like, so I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but I definitely feel, and I know there's more coming, like there's quite a bit of weird body commentary in the writing for this show.
Way more than we've seen in any other show we've watched so far. I know we get the Miranda Lizzie episode in Lizzie McGuire, and then That's So Raven, we get that weird food court episode where there's a lot.
And the model episode.
Yeah. But other than that, we don't really get these sort of continual comments like we get in this show.
Yeah, and those ones were with a purpose. That's the thing, is those ones were all about like not comparing yourself and being healthy in mind and body. These are just like the derogatory kinds of jabs and like teaching you the wrong thing. And I know we're going to have one episode later that's going to be more like those ones we saw in the previous shows.
Oh, good.
But it's still not like comparing. It doesn't make up for all of these lines that we're catching. Like, I just don't know what was going on in the writer's room for this.
And it feels of the time, because I feel like that's when we had big like tabloid magazines, and a lot of the comments were like, look who's out, like, look who's not beach ready, and it would be photos of a bunch of celebrities on the beach that look perfectly fine and beach ready. It
was the time of heroin chic.
Yeah. But it is weird because we haven't really seen it before. And I think we will continue to point out these lines as we see them, but they do come up quite frequently.
I think the other part of it that's weirder for me, and this is a very gendered thing, is that it's a boy-centric show. And yes, there's definitely going to be fat shaming later on as Zack gains more weight than Cody, because I even remember like growing up and watching this and being like, he's the fatter one or like the chubbier one or whatever, and like noticing the body differences. But I just expect those comments to be geared more towards women and girls.
Yeah. And in this, I would say, some of the comments we pointed out previously were like towards Maddie, but also the boys are not spared in these comments either.
Do you want to talk about the bunny?
There was a bunny that came out of his pants. Very strange. Also, they paid that animal actor to come for that one scene. Feels like a waste of budget.
Yeah. What? You laughing at my note?
Yeah.
So after the disqualification at the end of the episode, Carrie is going to go talk to the boys, and Max lectures them. Max lectures the hell out of Zack and Cody. And Carrie's like, she pretty much said it all. And like the boys can't even respond while Max is talking so much, and she's like, maybe you can talk some sense into them, maybe they'll listen to you, whatever, and walks off. And like, it's giving Little Woman, it's giving like I don't know how I feel about it. It was weird to me because like, I don't know, we're not all like bossy little moms in training.
Yeah, it was given a lot of sass and someone who's supposed to be like one of their best friends.
Like, I'm sassy too. The way that it came across felt very like girls are bossy.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I thought it was funny. I didn't like mind that scene as much as you did. I kind of enjoyed it.
But then I also didn't like it at the same time.
Fair.
Yeah. I don't like the way they say biscotti, because they say biscotti. I say biscotti.
Biscotti, yeah.
Yeah, they all said biscotti. Like it was normal.
I feel like it's a caramel situation,
I'd never heard that before. Also, I noted that above Cody's bed, he has a blue pennant that just says university. Like, you see the full thing. There's no university in it. They live in Boston. There's like 5 major universities there.
Yeah.
Whatever. The quotes are also from me again. Mr. Mosby shouts out, Esteban, I need you. And Esteban says, when I'm good and ready. And he goes, what did you say? Now I'm good and ready.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
And then also at the very beginning of the episode, when they see that the Dance USA thingy is filming, and Max is like, I want to enter. They're like, you should. You're better than the girl in the Missy Elliott video. Which is just like one of the famous lines from the show, known to be thrown at Alyson Stoner, because she is the girl in the Missy Elliott video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's the writers thinking they're clever in the writer's room.
Yeah, which also was like the Missy Elliott video and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody had very different audience demographics, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Want to do your shout outs?
Yeah.
This is the time where Amanda is going to shout out some moments, plot lines, guest stars from episodes that we didn't cover in the first half of season 1.
Because if you don't know, I watch every single episode of the show, and then I tell Jessica what to watch, so I get to experience it all. And sometimes there are just some things that I don't think are worth her time, but do have some notable moments. So, episode 6, The Prince and the Plungers, where we get introduced to Muriel, our lazy maid. Also, Arwen and his crazy, ridiculous crush on Carrie. Plus, that episode has a father-daughter dance at London's school, which her dad was going to show up to but does not, and Mosby goes instead, and it's one of those cute moments between the two of them where we see him as a father figure. Cute. Episode 8, A Prom Story. Maddie's school prom is held at the Tipton, and there's also a circus convention in town. It's a whole lot of shit. And this is a big one for her and Zack, because he thinks that she might have a crush on him from stuff he overhears. He has there's a 3.5-year age gap between him and her. And there's also a 3.5-year age gap between her and her senior crush. And so it's a lot of learning about age gaps and like her having to sort of lay it down for him and Carrie as well, and it's interesting. Also, Monique Coleman is in this episode. Episode 9, Band in Boston, is a band competition. Disney loves a battle of the bands, and it's the first time we see Maddie singing, which is only notable because she is Ashley Tisdale.
That is notable because she is indeed Ashley Tisdale.
And episode 10, Cody Goes to Camp, is so weird because most of it does not happen at the Tipton, but what does happen at the Tipton is the B-plot where London learns to drive with Mosby, and she refers to the gear shift as the Prindle.
Also, I have to say this, that is the episode where we get like probably the most notable Sweet Life meme of Mr. Mosby when he's like, it's the law.
I, to this day, when I'm driving, I look down and I'm like, it's the Prindle. And I'm pretty sure like our entire generation thinks of it as that, even if we know its actual name, we're like, it's the Prindle.
I've definitely referred to it as a Prindle, and when for the brief moment when Chris decided maybe he was going to learn to drive when we were in Reno, I definitely referred to it as the Prindle as if that was a serious thing that it was called.
Did he believe you?
Yeah, probably.
That's so funny.
Other things, we have a few guest stars. In episode 3, Maddie checks in. We have Julia Duffy as Martha Harrington. And then in episode 4, Hotel Inspector, Emma Stone is the voice of Ivana Tipton.
So, I don't know who Julia Duffy is. Emma Stone, obviously, I do. But I don't remember an Ivana Tipton in that episode. But I'm sure it was there. I know. I just don't remember. I'm sure it was there. But I think it would have been London's stepmom, which makes it creepy because Emma Stone's like the same age as Brenda Song.
Yeah, but I don't know, maybe she had a good voice.
She has that raspy voice from the screaming child syndrome shit. Okay. Up next, we will be covering the rest of season 1, which for us is going to look like episodes 13, 17, and then 19 through 22. As mentioned, there are 26 episodes, and in this one, we covered through episode 7. I did shout-outs up through episode 10, and I will do any additional shout-outs for that chunk in our next episode. But if you want to watch along with us, those are the episodes you should watch, 13, 17, and 19 through 22, so you know exactly what we're talking about. Or if you don't want to, and just let us do the watching for you and listen to our podcast so we tell you all about it.
Yeah. And as always, you can follow us on social media at I just forgot what that was. I was my brain short-circuited. Okay, we're starting that again. As always, you can follow us on all of our socials at 90s Babies Nostalgia on Instagram and YouTube. Spell out the word 90s. We are also on TikTok, but use numbers there. And Amanda has been posting to Twitter. 90s_babies is what we are there.
I posted one thing.
Well,
Anyway,
we're counting that as posting for us. It's improvement. Also, if you have a moment, please rate and review. It really helps our podcast get seen. And with that, we will see you in the next one.
hope you're having a great 2024. Bye.
90s babies nostalgia.